What's up, everybody? Today's episode, we are going to go over a complete BRRRR breakdown of one of my recent completed BRRRRs. I'm going to show you from start to finish exactly what I looked for when I went out to the property, what I saw in the listing, even before that, even the scheduling showing. I'm going to share my screen with you to show you even the MLS listing, to see the things that I picked up on the MLS listing. Literally, start to finish, I'm going to break down everything that I did to literally make $76,000 to get paid to buy a rental property using the BRRRR process. Again, if you're not familiar with BRRRR, it's buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat. That's how I've gone from starting from literally being a renter at an 8 to 5 job to taking about 80K in savings that I had to grow to the 8 figure portfolio that I have today just several years later. So again, let's just jump right into it. This is the original MLS listing that I found. This house actually went through 2 different realtors because they just did not want to sell it. As you can see, they started all the way up at 175. I ended up closing on this property for $68,000. And again, this was the only picture that they had on the listing. Obviously, you can't see anything. It says it's only a 2 bedroom and 2 bath, and it's only 1,500 square feet. They didn't even mention in the notes or anything on there for additional square footage that it had an apartment on the other side of the garage. And I'll show you later on in the video. But I wanted you guys to see that this is literally the MLS listing. As you can see, it was on the market for over a year. They did not want to sell it. They didn't want to make a deal. They thought they had a gold mine. You know how it is. It was a property that was in an estate with a couple sisters that owned it from the mom that passed down. Um, it was just a little bit of a headache at closing to get them to sign, but in the end, they wanted to eventually obviously sell it. And it took maybe a month after I submitted my original offer for them to actually come around to selling it. But the key points here are is that it's only says it's a 2 bedroom, 2 bath. So if you're on Zillow, you're going to see 2 bed, 2 bath, and 1,500 square feet, and you're like, it's not that attractive. And obviously, no interior pictures, nothing. Horrible job listing it. These are the listings that you want to try to go after. It's in a good area. It's actually right across from one of the better schools in Corpus. Um, these are the listings you want to go after because everybody else is just going to click on this listing and they're just going to go to the next because it doesn't have pictures, yada yada yada, and all that stuff that you want to see, the fluff. But guys, we're investors. This is when you want to make money on these properties. If it was posted properly, it would sell for a lot more money. But again, found this one, really worked out well that way. So immediately I'll show you the video, guys, right now of what I thought when I was walking through it in the value that I saw in it. So again, this is my initial video that I took of the walkthrough. Um, it smelled horrible, which anybody knows if you're in real estate, the worse it smells, it's the smell of money because everybody else is going to walk right in and walk right out. I almost did because it smelled so bad, but I knew that, hey, there may be some value in this. Obviously, you can see his kitchen, horrible layout, very closed off. I saw immediately when I walked to this living room area, I'm like, man, is this a bedroom? Like, what are they considering this? Because this is the front of the house over here. This is the front of the house. So obviously horrible layout. But when I'm walking through this stuff, guys, the things I'm looking for are the big things. How's the foundation? Is there lots of water damage or rot anywhere? And a lot of the time when I'm walking through this property, I just saw it was mostly cosmetic. Like, this is all mostly cosmetic in here. This, same thing. Rip the carpet up. We're doing windows already, paint, carpet, fixtures. I know this room is not going to be a lot of money spent. So then walk to the next room. This is where one of the masters are. I see a giant master. I see no other really issues other than we're already replacing the windows. We're already going to paint. We're already going to redo this anyways. The hardwood looks to be in good shape. There's no weird foundation issues. Obviously, it smelled like cat piss, and that's because it was. They had like 15 cats living in here. But I see a good size ensuite with multiple closets that really just needs to be cosmetic. That's what pushed a lot of people this way, is they didn't do the job of cleaning the stuff out. This is the stuff I look for. So I see it's already got a bathroom. This old tile is really expensive to break up and take out. But the thing is, you can just paint it and it actually looks pretty good after you paint it. So, and most of the times, like with vanities like this, I typically would just have my countertop guy come in and put a new countertop on top of it and a sink and paint the cabinets, and it looks like a $2,000 vanity. So again, these are rental properties. You're trying to save money. You're not trying to be on HGTV and stuff like that. You need to see, okay, what's the best bang for my buck? You want the tenant to think it's nice, make it look nice, so they treat it nice, but at the same time, you're trying to still think about the bottom line at the end of it. So obviously, it's already got HVAC in here, but it still has it. So we're going to take that window unit out and we're going to do a new HVAC system anyways. Again, just kind of doing a little bit of walkthrough. Guys, stuff like this when you're walking through, quality of doors and stuff like that matters. People skip a lot of that stuff. People don't understand that a new interior doors are not cheap. So if you have good, solid, old wood doors that just can be painted, you're saving yourself $1,500, $2,000 in every single one of these houses. So obviously there's a closet there. Again, just checking everything. Here's the old HVAC system that you can't really see because it's so dark. But that doesn't matter because we're going to replace that anyways. And that's pretty much going to be it. So this door, you'll see in a second here. Again, super funky layout. This door right here goes into the garage. And this is where, I didn't get it on video, but this is where you're going to see a lot of value that I brought to this house. And I'll show you why. So this is a picture of the garage on the other side of that door. So basically what I just walked through here was that picture I showed you in the door in the beginning. So on the other side of it here is an apartment. But what appraisers don't tell you is, even if it is attached, because there's two different values you can get from having a mother-in-law suite or something like that. People think that they take that gross living area square footage and that actually counts towards the appraisal. That is not true. If it is detached, it gets a value, but it's like a garage. So it has a value to it, but it's not, it'll be more than a garage, but it won't be considered livable square footage in the house. So if you're comping a house at 200 square foot, a list price, and you have a 500 square foot apartment, you're going to give that thing a value of $20,000 because you think, oh, it's, whatever, the square footage of it. That's not true. That square footage is not a direct one-to-one livable square footage. Same thing if you have an apartment on the other side. If you have to go through a non-HVAC system or HVAC place, even if it is attached, I learned this the hard way. If you go through a garage or a non-HVAC, like livable square footage area, it gets devalued. There's an area in the appraisal that's under functionality, and it will get a knock on the functionality. It'll be considered in the gross living square footage, but you'll get a knock on the appraisal for functionality. So what I did to really create a lot of value in this property is I cut a door right here, and then I made a hallway over here. And then we brought this whole floor up, insulated it, added HVAC, and made this a bedroom. The laundry was already over here, so we just kept it there. And you'll see in the video, I'll show you in a second, we turned this into a fourth bedroom and then a walkway into here. And since now that is connected directly through HVAC, this whole apartment back here and this garage is now considered in the living square foot of the house. So now we have a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom house that all that square footage gets counted into the living square footage. And that's where I saw the main value in this property. So here's the video of the final product. As you can see, we replaced the windows. This is just paint. That was the old door. So as you can see, we opened up this whole living area, that wall that we first saw when we walked in, just to make this one functioning room, because there's no point in having that tiny living room. Everybody's going to see that and want to walk away. So again, we added a beam there, added enough space for an island. Made this kitchen nice. You still have a formal dining area. And again, these are all the original doors, trim, everything you can keep when you're doing a BRRRR. You want to save it. Don't go in and just start ripping all the quarter round out, ripping all the trim out, all that stuff. People don't, when they think about flooring, they just think about the price of the actual LVP. Well, you guys, quarter round is 80 to $1 square foot, depending on where you get it from. I get it wholesale, so I buy it for about 40 cents a square foot. But even then, if you have a 2,000 square foot house, granted it's a linear feet, it's not square feet, but that'll cost you, if you go to Home Depot, that's $700-800 just in quarter round. So everything that you can save and trim and stuff like that, who cares if your baseboard and your trim isn't 100% matching the rest of the house? If you can save it, save it. It'll save you thousands. So in here, this is the original tub that we saved. You couldn't really see it because there was glass over it. We just took the glass off, and then these are a big hack for me. These PVC panels, they look like porcelain tab or tiles, but I think I pay $75 for a 4x8 sheet of this, and they look awesome. And all you had to do was already had a glued up tub surround, so we just took it down, put some backer behind it, glued it back up, done. Couple $100. Looks like $1,000, $2,000 tub. We always buy these same vanities from Home Depot. They're $150. Get a faucet. A big hack with this is don't go to the store. This is Glacier Bay, so this is a big brand name. But when you go to the store and you go directly to like the store section, these things are like $150 for a nice gold one. If you go online, you can find this on Home Depot's website. You can find this same Glacier Bay faucet for $30. Again, huge savings if you just go online. This is the stock vanity from Home Depot for $150. We just paint it, add the same hardware to match what's in the kitchen, and it makes it look nice. Again, we're under $1,500 in that bathroom. Again, all that was just paint and flooring. That was really it in this whole room. We kept these cabinets. We put quartz countertop on top of it. Everything else stayed the same. We just painted, like I said, the tile white, changed the sconces out. We're in here, in and out, super cheap. So again, everything else is really just paint flooring. These are, again, are these same PVC tiles that I was talking about. They're 4x8, and look how good that black splash looks for a couple $100 versus trying to tile that whole backsplash. So this was that door that I said used to lead to the garage. Look what we did in here. This is where the value really gets added. So again, we made it a hallway. There's your washer dryer, new water heater. See where we put the bedroom in? So now we get a fourth bedroom, insulated it. We added HVAC, added a closet. It's got to have a closet. So we made a hallway here. This is into that other apartment. So now we captured this whole area and the other area in the garage into livable square footage. We added, I think the garage was 360, this apartment was 320. So now we're going to get 680 more in gross living area square footage, all by making this hallway, this bedroom, and adding HVAC. I mean, we're talking, this is the HVAC up here I point to. We're talking under $10,000. We just brought in 600 square foot of livable square footage. So we took that 2.2 from the listing with 1,500 square feet. Now we have a 4.3 and over 2,000 square feet. And that's big value, guys. That's where you get your value. That's how this property sat on the MLS and nobody purchased it. And how I found out those numbers, if you go right to your county's website, I saw that it had the garage. So this is the property. I saw it had a garage. I already knew it was 360 square feet. So I knew I can capture that into the livable square footage. In this other main area, this is the apartment. So I knew the apartment was 240, garage is 360. I can now add that 360 into the livable square footage that it has. And all of that now gets captured as livable square footage that wasn't showing on here. And now we have 4 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms because you couldn't count that apartment in the listing beds and bath because it was not directly, or it wasn't finished out for one. but two, it was an addition at some point that probably never got really calculated into it. But again, if you just went on Zillow and looked at this, you would have saw 2.2 and you would have walked away because there was no other pictures of it, a horrible listing. So let's go over the numbers of everything because that's what everybody wants to know. So I bought it for 68,000. My rehab and closing costs, holding costs, everything from the buying side and the refinance side came in at $60,000. It was all in at 128. The appraised value came back in at 255 after the repairs were done. And then the bank that I use, they give me 80% cash out refinance. That's a new loan of 204,000 that the bank gives me. 204,000. I pay myself back the 128. I don't use hard money anymore. I use cash, so I don't have any interest holding costs or hard money costs or anything like that. So I'm basically just paying myself back. I'm not paying off a hard money lender, but I'm paying myself back the 128 that I took out originally from myself that I paid for, and that leaves me with $76,000 in tax-free profit. People ask, why is it tax-free? Because it's an equity pull. You're taking the equity out of your property. It's not a sale. I still have a loan for that. But in the end, I only used $128,000 of my own money, and the bank hands me $204,000. So now I walk away with that tax free. And also, you still have the equity in the property too that you also created. So I still have $50K in equity in that property as well because my loan's only $214, but the property's worth $255. So then you get a total net worth gain when you add those two numbers up to $127,000. So essentially, I got paid $76,000 to buy that rental property when it's all said and done. And guys, that is how you do a BRRRR at scale. Because now I can take that money and I'm right into the next project. We have 3 or 4 of these BRRRRs going on right now at the same time. Guys, if you like the content, please subscribe. Comments if you guys want videos broken down, what you guys want. Again, this is what I do. I do 4 to 5 BRRRRs a month. You can ask me any questions. Again, I started with literally nothing, so there's no excuse for you to say, oh, I need this, I need that, or I need that much money to start. I don't have a degree. You can learn this all from YouTube, just like I did, Bigger Pockets, all that stuff. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Please like and subscribe. All right, y'all. Have a good one.